Hey YouTube, Shinobi here with a review of the S.H.Figuarts Hyper Shinken Red from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, the movie, technically, though it appeared in the show once or twice, and I think the other movie, the team up, and fun stuff like that. So it's for multiple things, but it is labeled as coming from the movie, even though it was just as long as a normal episode, but let's not get into that. So, shiny box, it's all red. Not too much different than the typical Shinken Red package. Hyper Shinken Red, Takeru Shiba, all around with the kanji and fun stuffs. So, the figure is a repaint of the Super Shinken Red figure. So, if you've watched my review on that, there really isn't too much else to go over. You have the same exact detailings all around with the coat. It is a pliable, soft plastic, so you can still move the legs all around. But I wouldn't get it stuck in some wild position because it will hold like that over a longer period of time. So I wouldn't go like this or something, make them do some weird kicky pose where it's like this forever. It might get stuck like that, so I wouldn't do that. But other than that, it shares the coat embedded body up here. The typical shoulder joint for the Shinkengers that some people really hate. I think they could be better, but with the shoulder pad right here, it doesn't particularly bother me all that much because it's fairly hidden. Speaking of the shoulder pad, it is on a really crazy joint system. You can do things like that if you want to. I don't see a reason to, but it moves because movability is fun. Full rotation there at the neck. Quite a long neck, actually, but it's fairly accurate to the suit. Full range of motion. He can owl it up in here. You have a bend right there at the middle of the chest and down there at the waist. So you've got all sorts of swivelly movements and fun stuff. Double joint right there at the elbow. A swivel. Little typical wrist joint down there. The fairly standard Sentai leg system, ball and socket, along with a thigh swivel, double joint at the that's a knee at the knee, and then the ball and socket ankle joint down here, which disappoints me a bit because I don't like that joint at all. It's very loose and it's kind of difficult to stand this guy up. But it's a nice red. It meshes with his the suit pretty well. It's got a little bit of a metallic to it, but not overly, so it does look nice, though, I will give it that. But Hyper Shinken Red is just one of those things where it's just so red that it's kind of annoying. So I prefer the super mode, just because it's just, there's so much red, and then I knock him over. Because he's so red, that's what I do. So he's going to stand there and look up at the stars and stuff, because it is nighttime right now. And I'm going to go over the accessories. So he comes with the Shodophone in brush mode, because why not? And of course the Kyouryumaru, or the Kyouryu Origami. There's really no difference when it's in this, call it what you wish. Yeah, it's cool. It's actually very nicely detailed. It's a fairly hard plastic. It's a little bit, it's not bendable at all. I wouldn't do that. I heard a cracky noise. So, don't bend it, kids. But very nice detail. It's a nice metallic blue with the flat red paint with the yellow eyes. Fairly accurate sculpt color too for the base of the sword. As you can see, it is modeled after the Shinkenmaru, just with this lump attached to it for his legs, and then obviously the dinosaur-esque head thing. It does come with the Kyouryu disc. Absolutely no huge details. You can kind of see the head of the Kyouryu Origami on the disc, but it's hard to really capture that with this cam. It doesn't spin or anything like that. It is stuck, but you do get this. You can use it on the Bandai of America not Hyper Shinken Red, Shark Attack Red Ranger that came in the Morphicon set. It's grotesquely out of scale, but it does hold in his hand decently, and it doesn't look horrible given how big Bandai of America's weapons always are in the first place. So, in terms of hands, you have the Kyouryu Origami holding hands, just typical weapon holding hands. Just relaxed hands right here, and then some pose hands, because you've got the brush, and then a more relaxed Kyouryu Origami holding hand, I believe. So, you can fit this right in this hand, I believe. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a looser grip. It doesn't really do too much that the other ones don't. All depends on how tight the grip is that you want to hold. So, very cool. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a closer look. So, is this a recommended pickup? Not really. For the price of a typical exclusive figure art, you get Super Shinken Red in an overly red color scheme with this thing. It depends on how much the Kyouryumaru / Kyouryu Origami is worth it for you. If you really want this, then it's actually a pretty decent figure. I don't have any problems with it outside of the wonky shoulders and it being overly red, but that's just my personal preference. So there's no actual flaws with the figure. It's just not... It's kind of like Guy, Kamen Rider Guy. It's a nice figure with no real flaws to me. It's just, it comes with so little that it's really hard to recommend these things. But if you really want the Kyouryu Origami, you can probably find this guy for roughly the price of a normal retail figure art. It's a Sentai release, so they don't sell particularly well. So you should be able to find him on Mandarake or Yahoo Japan auctions for fairly cheap. So if he really interests you, go the cheaper route. I wouldn't get him on like an inflated eBay price, or like directly from a middleman without having some sort of discount attached to it, because he's really just not worth the exclusivity price for it, since this is a Tamashii Web exclusive. I would like to point out that because this is a Tamashii Web exclusive, the chances of this getting released in America are incredibly slim. You won't find it at Toys R Us or anything like the normal Shinken Red. And Bluefin does not have the ability to distribute this Tamashii Web exclusive because of the whole fact that it is technically a Power Ranger property. And when it was released, they didn't really have clearance for things like that, and it needs to be contractually discussed by both Bandai and Bluefin. So it just didn't happen. There's a good chance that they could now, given the fact that they are making Power Ranger figure art soon. But I wouldn't take your chances. If you really do want this release, I would go ahead and try to get it through the Japanese outlets. Just because waiting until an American release that might never come just seems kind of silly to me. So like I said before, it is a nice figure with a very nice accessory, with a fairly decent color scheme, all things considered. But it's just not worth the exclusivity price. If you can get it for a good price, then by all means pick it up. Particularly if you don't have Super Shinken Red. If you don't have that, then this is more worth it. However, I would recommend just picking up Super Shinken Red, given the fact that you get the Mougyuubazooka, you get the Kyouryumaru, you get another Shinkenmaru. You get so much more with the Super Shinken Red release than you do with this one. So just the fact that there's so little on accessories just kind of kicks this one to the curb a little bit. So unless you desperately want the red coat and desperately want the Kyouryumaru, this really isn't a release that's worth it at all. So you can check out ShogunShobi.com for all the latest updates, some more reviews and hauls, and of course check out RidersRangersRebels.com, the podcast bringing the latest token news in the craziest way possible. So take care and have a great one. Bye.